Rockin' one-on-one, she compliment my taste. Whiskey in my lemonade, cause I like the way it tastes. Best seats at the Pirates game, they let me run the base. Yeah, my time is like my money, cause I can't afford to waste. Wifey is a lawyer, take my date to my dates. Order steak by the plate, sending case after case. Run my race at my pace, clear the grass of the snake.
I got the Nitro Espresso brew. This is unreal, man. If you're looking for a pick-me-up, has good consistency, got a little foam, like it's like a beer almost. Best of both worlds here.
Interesting.
Yeah, gets you going. It's probably the only coffee where I drink it, like half of it, and I'm like, okay, I'm good.
Time out, guys.
Might be having some audio issues here. One moment. Oh, Jim Rosati says we're good.
We're good.
We're good. Okay,
All right.
good. All right.
So yeah,
False alarm.
let's get into the Pirates.
Let's do it.
First things first. Big week in the Pirates world. Derek Shelton is no longer the manager after going 306 and 440 all time in what, about 5 and little less than half
5
year.
and some change.
Yeah. Overall, needed to be done. Not going to point fingers at Shelton was the main reason that the Pirates are poor right now, but it was a move that we were expecting and needed to be made, and I'm happy at least they went through with it.
Yeah, someone had to be held accountable, unfortunately. You saw Paul Skeens' press conference yesterday where he talked about accountability, and, we're 12 and 27 at the time of the interview. And Shelton, it usually starts with the coach, right? Do I think Shelton's fully at fault for the position of his team? Absolutely not. But, it starts with him, and then we got a new man in town. There was some white smoke that appeared this Saturday. Probably shouldn't be saying that, but I am. We got a new coach. We got Don Kelly from Mount Lebo. Don, all right? Bench coach for the Pirates. Elevated to manager. Had a short stint with the Astros as a coach. Is now with the Pirates, been the bench coach the past couple years. He gets an opportunity. Doesn't have the interim tag on him. So,
yeah, he's going to be the manager for the rest of the year. But let's talk a little bit more about accountability, right? Because you heard Ben Cherington say, like, if you're going to hold anyone accountable, like, it starts with him, right? So everything we've heard, Ben's going to remain throughout the season. We've talked about it many times. You're usually not going to get rid of a GM halfway through the year. You're at least going to let him finish this draft.
Yes.
Before you make any moves. But I think this is probably the full extent of what's going to happen.
For the year, yeah, too. And then I also want to mention Radley Haddad, who was the game planning coach.
Right.
Was let go as well, so Shelton wasn't the only one. But yeah, for the rest of the year, this is probably the extent of what's going to happen. And got some loud cars passing by. Excuse us. This is what happens when you're on Penn Avenue in the meat of the Strip District. No pun intended. But yeah, accountability, man. Something had to be done. 7-game losing streak. Nothing seemed to be clicking. Even Shelton said they didn't have the formula last week.
It's a pretty bizarre statement.
Yeah, it was a pretty alarming statement. So, got their first win under the new skip yet last night. We'll see what happens going forward, but they've dug themselves quite the hole so far.
Yeah, it's going to be nearly impossible to get to where you want to be this season to be a winning baseball team. So just take it game by game at this point. But I want to touch on what the story was in the national media, because I feel like it's switched up a little bit. We know Shelton's a scapegoat. They got to point the finger at somebody. But before, it was just focus on, front office and the Pirates are bad. And now there was a whole narrative of Shelton's absolutely not the problem. He's going to be a great coach somewhere else. He's definitely going to get a managerial job in this league. I think we pumped the brakes a little bit on that. I don't know if any professional coach at like any of the highest levels of any sport has been given as long of a leash as Derek Shelton.
6 years.
6 years of
Nearly.
losing. And I understand not given anything really in terms of talent, but at the end of the day, you have to play with the cards that you're dealt, and that just didn't happen. So yeah, you're going to get fired if you lose that often. It's probably 3 years too late for most teams.
Yeah. I think the big thing for me too here, especially the start of this season, and over the past couple weeks, is there seemed to be a lack of life in the clubhouse and the dugout, I guess you could say, from watching it on TV and just on the field too. Like, just doesn't seem to be much energy on this team, and it starts with the manager,
Right.
And so hopefully we can see a little bit more energy here going forward. Kind of play spoiler. It's still early, but they've dug themselves a hole to the point where like they have to play above 500 ball to get back to last year's record. So you just want to see guys go out there, make improvements. You want to see some of the young guys debut, get their shot in the big leagues, and see what happens the rest of the year.
Just got a comment from Jim here.
Yeah.
He's the only non-expansion manager who had 5 full losing seasons and was brought back for a 6th.
Yeah.
So that speaks to the leash.
Yeah, exactly. So it was due. What I want in a manager, and I hope at least Don Kelly can provide this for half the season and some change, is just like getting guys to play for you and for each other. Because right now we've mentioned there's no energy on the field. It doesn't seem. It seemed like they lost the clubhouse. I don't think anyone hated Derek Shelton. I don't want to use that, but at the same time, you want guys to be able to rally around you. It's a long season. It's a grind. Believe it or not, guys aren't going to want to show up and play every single day. Like, they're human beings. So you need somebody who's going to be able to push these guys in order to get the most out of them. Like a Stephen Vogt, for instance, right? You've heard all the Cleveland guys rave about what he does for the clubhouse and how relatable he is. So I think moving forward, I mean, Don Kelly played, obviously. He's a Pittsburgh guy, so maybe a little bit more relatable. Get the
and
guys
he has
going.
experience under some
Right.
like winning clubs. He was with the Astros under AJ Hinch
Right.
for a minute. They always talk about his relationship with Jim Leland. So he's been around some winning cultures and winning managers. And I don't want to speculate too early. Like we said, the interim tag is not on Don Kelly, but like if they were to move forward next year, which I'm not even thinking about yet, I would think it would have to be someone with managing experience, or a guy like a Stephen Vogt who is primed to be a manager.
Yeah, I want someone who's just out of the league, honestly.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of like Stephen Vogt. I want somebody who knows the guys that are in the clubhouse now and can relate to them on another level. I think getting someone too old or too ingrained in a manager can overhaul a clubhouse, or it goes like one way or another. I want to build a culture, right? And part of building a culture is getting somebody who can be at the helm.
Yeah.
That can, bring spirits up, who builds something here, and somebody who's in the league now or, is out of the league for a couple years can just relate more to the guys that are playing, have a better understanding of where the game's at now.
Yeah. I guess my plans to drive to Cincinnati and kidnap Terry Francona are out the window then.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
For sure.
No, I totally get what you're saying. That would be awesome too. Like seeing a guy like Stephen Vogt going into a small market like Cleveland, building that culture, like actually carrying over the culture they had with Francona. It seemed like a seamless transition. It'd be nice if there's not really a culture here right now.
No.
It's something to be built from the ground up, but would be nice to have something like that here in Pittsburgh going forward.
Real quick, let's give a shout out to one of our sponsors, Total Sports Enterprises, for all your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia needs. Pirates, Penguins, Steelers, and more. Right now, you can go over there, get a Skeens jersey, Andrew McCutchen autographs on a bat, baseball helmet, much, much more. You go to tseshop.com. Real quick, Scott, I want to play a game. Okay.
So,
We're going to do a memorabilia draft.
oh boy.
We'll go 3 rounds.
Ooh, I did not come prepared for this, but let's do it.
We'll go 3 rounds of we got the parallel parking game going on too, a lot better than last week.
We saw someone fail like 3 times,
and then they just took off. So beautiful job.
that was seamless. They would have had success.
Very good.
That was
Very good.
a one shot right there. That was crazy.
Call it
One
a raid. parking job. Right?
One quick comment from Jim on the last topic of recent player. His candidate is Yasmani Grandal.
You gotta believe, man.
Wait, I thought Nick Solak would be a manager next year. I mean, he's getting to that age that.
I think catchers make great managers.
Yeah.
Take control of the game. You have a really good understanding of the pitching staff, the bullpen, commanding the field. So I think I don't think you're far off, Jim.
Nick Solak, player manager.
Real Jackie Moon situation going on. Awesome. Well, let's get into this. So, partners with Total Sports Enterprises, where you can get all of your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia needs. If you go to the park and you see us handing out signed baseballs, photos, that's all from Total Sports Enterprises. So I want to do a draft of Pittsburgh sports memorabilia. You could go first, and then we'll just go back and forth until we each have 3.
I got the
and
pressure
then
of 1-1.
1-1, and then we'll let whoever's in the chat decide who wins here.
Okay, this is just coming off the dome. I'm gonna go, and there's probably better choices for 1-1, but I'm gonna go Lloyd McClendon stolen base from the time he got kicked out of the game.
I love that. Okay. 1-2. I'm going Rodolfo Castro's cell phone that fell out of his pocket.
Oh my god!
I was saving that. We were talking about this a little bit last night, and I didn't want to say it because I don't want anyone taking it. But yeah, Rodolfo Castro's cell phone.
All right, I got one. A signed Jim Leland SIG.
Signed.
Yeah. I don't know how that would work, but
like a bud or
like a bud, yeah, sure.
Okay. I'm trying to think if I go serious here. We could throw in like one serious one.
I'm never serious, so you can take that.
I'll give one serious one. I want the Bill Mazeroski Game 7 home run ball.
Ooh.
Signed by the team.
All right, I'll be serious. And Roberto Clemente, 3,000.
You want that baseball?
Yeah.
I'm assuming that's at the museum.
Probably. It's yeah, I think it is actually.
Yeah, it has to be. Haven't been over there in a while.
Well, let's
really
say
cool
it's
place.
not, hypothetically speaking. Let's say it's not at the museum.
Right.
I'm gonna go with the Clemente 3,000 ball.
Clemente 3,000 ball. Okay. I want a Lonnie Chisenhall signed jersey.
One of the greatest pirates to ever live. Seriously.
Yeah, that's 3. I got 3.
Yeah, I got 3 too.
All right. Beautiful. Go to Total Sports Enterprises to get all of your Pittsburgh sports memorabilia, tseshop.com. Let's talk about last night a little bit.
Yeah. Got a W. I almost forgot how to put together the 3-star graphic.
Forgot we did that.
So that was cool. Bailey Falter looked really good.
Yeah, it was good to see for the most part, he's been super consistent. I mean, he's got a 4.36 ERA right now. His record sits at 2-3. But last night, 6 innings, no runs, 3 Ks, 2 walks. We've talked about it a million times. He's successful when he's competitive at the top of the zone, right? I mean, you have the A+ extension. That's where he's going to live. And they backed him up with the long ball last night.
Yeah, they did. I will say this. Right before the game.
We got a live question here, folks.
I'll pause. Go ahead. We got a question here.
Hi, I'm Jamie from Squirrel Hill. If you know how Allegheny has the Jolly Roger coffee, if you guys had to put together a coffee, any flavor, and name it that encompasses the Pittsburgh Pirates, what would it be?
I'll let you take this one because I'm a pretty plain coffee guy.
Okay. So make a coffee and then name it after the Pittsburgh Pirates. Ooh. Man.
I could be very unserious here, but I'm not going to. Go ahead.
Okay. Maybe just a plain black coffee because they don't add anything to it ever. It's the cheapest thing you could probably get on the menu.
Well, with some cash considerations.
Yeah. It's the cheapest thing you can get. There's nothing added to it. So you just know what it's going to be every single time, no matter what. You still get your hopes up for it every morning to drink the coffee. But the name is
Hopium.
The Pittsburgh Pirates.
Hopium.
Yeah.
Hopium.
The Hopium, yeah.
That's not Pirates related, but we're sipping on that Hopium.
Good question. You get a free coffee.
There
You're welcome. Any other questions? good?
No?
All right,
Okay.
so let's go back to talking
Let me go
about
back to last
the
night
Braves.
before I was interrupted by this fan. Just kidding. So last night, Tommy Pham was in the lineup to start. And then we had a last-minute change. The Don put Alexander Canario in. And some are saying, is the Don a genius? Because Alexander Canario, we were sitting on the right field wall. And that ball was like, what? 5 rows in front of us that he hit, opposite field. He shows the power potential here and there. We'd like to see that average go up, but did Don Kelly see something that we didn't?
So we have a live question that's about that very topic.
So I am Steve from Squirrel Hill. How does it feel
to
to be undefeated under Don Kelly?
Oh man,
Undefeated. Hope.
I'm believing already.
Promise. I'm all the way back in.
Yeah.
Bucktober is back on. In all seriousness, I think baseball is a huge momentum game, and you rally around the guys that are in the clubhouse and who you're playing for. And I think one win or one change can potentially change the trajectory for the season. So I'm not saying that the Pirates are all the way back, like in reality, but I think
I'm not going to post a graphic yet.
There's a little bit more of a spark with guys. Like I'm not surprised that they played a little bit better last night because the mood's up. There's something's different. So you just like you can't do one thing for too long the same. Guys are going to get bored, right?
Yeah.
So you change it up a little bit, and
I'm just hoping, he injects some life into the clubhouse. I'm obviously rooting for him. He's also a Pittsburgh guy, which makes it easier. I'd root for him regardless. So, and yeah, I'm just hoping to see some life, some rallying around the guy, and maybe go on a little run here. This schedule's kind of tough.
very tough. You have the Braves this weekend, who they took one of, and then they got the Heen Dog going tonight against AJ Smith Shawver, who's coming off of an 8-inning, I think, no-run performance.
He had a no-hitter going into the 8th, I think.
Right.
So yeah, I mean, it'll be a tough one. AJ Smith Shawver, we'll post the scouting report later. We talked about it on the Sunday episode. He's a guy who can ramp that fastball up to high 90s if he so pleases.
The Braves develop all these arms.
Yeah, they do. And I think he was a first-round pick. He was a higher pick, but he also has a nasty split. He's more of like a fastball split guy. He struggles with consistency around the secondaries. So, let's hopefully we get that, AJ, and we can just jump on some fastballs here.
What are you expecting from the lineup today? Would Pirates Twitter absolutely blow up if it was just the same lineup?
So this wasn't a live question. Well, actually, we do have one live comment from somebody. Just the name in the chat is just Mike. So whoever that might be, and it just says, "What's this?"
Is that Bucko Mike?
It very well could be Bucko Mike, but the question is just, "What's this?" So what is this?
What's this? This is our Bucko Banner live show in the heart of the Strip District at Allegheny Coffee and Tea Exchange, the best coffee shop in
Confirmation. It is in fact Bucko Mike.
It is Bucko Mike. I love you, Bucko Mike. You're the best.
One of my favorite people on Pirates Twitter.
Go follow Bucko Mike. This is our live show at Allegheny Coffee and Tea in the Strip District. You can come down every other Saturday, ask your Pirates question. Most times, including today, if you come and ask a live question, you get a free coffee. So Bucko Mike, if you want to show your face, get a free coffee, get on the show.
We all need to
come on down.
Put a face to the name, Bucko Mike. But what we were talking about.
And again, this was a pretty common thing. What you guys are about to talk about, pretty common thing on Twitter yesterday. I saw it a bunch of times. I know NS9 talked about it a little bit. A lot of comments on the lineup, just being like, "This looks a lot like a Shelton lineup."
Bro,
how do you guys? Yeah,
you take it.
I got some comments too. It's like, "Oh, I like this lineup so far." It's the same damn lineup, guys. Like, I mean, it's the same team. The only difference was Manny Valdez is on the 10-day IL with a shoulder strain or something like that.
Yeah.
So I think you're going to see a lot of Matt Gorski here in the coming week or so, however long Manny's out. But yeah, the lineup's going to be the same. I think you're going to see Triolo playing a lot of short at the bottom of the lineup. I think you're going to see a lot of Tommy Pham or Canario above him, and I think that top 4 is going to mostly stay the same, right? Cruz, Reynolds, Kutch, Bart, Hayes.
Yeah.
So
I think you have no choice but to keep. I mean, I think anyone would agree with this. And if you disagree, let us know. I think Cruz has to maintain in that leadoff spot for a couple of reasons. One, he has no protection in the lineup pretty much anywhere else. Right?
Yeah.
So putting him there, you're going to give him an opportunity to get a fastball. Two, he's aggressive. And I think comparable to like what the Phillies have done and what the Dodgers have done with Shohei Ohtani, going up 1-0 is so big.
Yeah.
In baseball. I mean, he adds the speed, obviously. So you get like the traditional leadoff guy who can steal second. And what is he tied for steals in the league right now? Or he's close.
15.
Yeah, he's got 15, so he's close to it at least. But the ability to go up 1-0 or to slug and get a guy on second base that easy is so valuable, especially for a team like the Pirates going up early in a game. And we talked about it, giving that starting pitcher a little bit of cushion, even if it's one run to start the game, that gives you a ton of confidence going out there throughout, at least innings 1 through 6.
Yeah.
And I know they got to score more than one, but that gets the guys going. So Cruz has to stay there. Also, he's just aggressive. And I love, jumping on a fastball 0-0 to start the game.
Yeah, I think Reynolds is going to get going too. The month of June is coming up. I don't know if you've heard about Reynolds in June, but that's usually his favorite month of the year.
Yeah, he's got teamed up. Yeah.
So it'd be nice for Cruz to have a little bit more protection behind him there. I also really like IKF turning that order over at the bottom. So when he's back, that'll be nice as well. We were talking last night about some reinforcements coming. Nick Gonzalez, Spencer Horwitz.
Yeah.
Putting those guys in this lineup makes it look better.
Yeah, I mean, Horwitz.
For sure.
Yeah, Horwitz is a lefty bat. He has a high on-base percentage. Adding him to the middle of the lineup. And then Nick Gonzalez specifically, you need that aggressive hitter.
Yeah.
Right now, I mean, Cruz is very aggressive in the lineup, but Gonzalez is willing to swing out of his shoes.
Yeah.
He can provide some power. I mean, he can be clutch. He's proven. So I think that is going to be a boost for this lineup. Whether or not everyone else hits around them is, to be determined.
We got a couple comments from Mike here in the chat about the lineup. A couple predictions here. Matt Gorski sees a run because IKF is potentially hurt and Horwitz is not ready yet.
Okay.
Canario should see a run in left.
I agree.
And his play, not even recently, just generally, should probably keep him out of the lineup. Which I think are all.
Yeah, no, I agree with pretty much everything there. We've been talking about consistency in the lineup and around the league. Yeah, people are going to play the matchups. And I think in this day and age, you have to play the matchups to some degree, but not to the extent that the Pirates were doing for the past 5 years. Yeah. And I think part of that is just talent and what you're given. I don't know what you really expected Shelton to do with the talent that's there. So the lineup's not going to be that much different than what Shelton's putting out. But I think what you can ask for from Don Kelly is more consistency when something's working, right?
Yeah.
So coming off a day where a guy goes deep, maybe put him in the lineup. See if there's an extra spark there. So yeah, keep Canario in left field. Stay out of the double play ball. Yeah. We got a question?
Yeah, we got a live question here.
Love the Knicks hat, sir.
So my name's Michael. I'm from New York originally, but now living in Pittsburgh, I've watched pretty much every home game for the Pirates. Yeah, it is.
Kidding.
So as someone that watches every game, I've noticed that a lot of the balls end up on the warning track. They hit amazing moonshots, but it just ends up a little short every time. Do you think it's because of the wind blowing in every time, or are these guys just not strong enough? Like, what do you think it is?
Not strong enough. I like that.
Warning track
Narrative.
power, man.
Warning
Some
track.
WTP.
Hit the weight. Yeah.
Yeah.
Hit the weight room. I don't know. I think it just depends on the night how the wind's blowing. I don't know if PNC is really known to have like strong winds blowing.
Right. Yeah. It's not like Wrigley or Oracle.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there's a multitude of factors. I think at the end of the day, the Pirates just don't have guys that are going to consistently slug and hit home runs. So you're just going to see more balls dying out at the warning track. PNC is also, I mean, it's not a hitter's park. I would say, I mean, right field maybe, but it's pretty big.
Neutral, for the most part, like pitcher hitter ballpark. I wouldn't go one or the predominantly one or the other.
Right.
It could maybe favor left-handed hitters.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's not an overly large ballpark. It's not an overly small.
I have a follow-up question.
Yeah.
So since you say they only have warning track power, what do you say about them?
I didn't say that.
Well, Mr. Adams said that.
Yeah.
I said it.
What do you think of them moving the wall in like 5 feet?
Which wall?
All of them.
All of them? Nah. I like
The
that.
Orioles did it.
Yeah, but they've moved it like 3 times, didn't they?
Yeah, I think the rule.
Snip, snap,
I heard.
snip, snap.
I heard somebody talking about this the other day online. If you're gonna change the dimensions of your wall, you need to keep it for at least 5 years at a minimum. You can't just be going back and forth depending on who you're bringing in, or else every team would be doing that.
I like the ballpark the way it is. I've said it before. I'm a traditionalist. I like the dimensions of PNC Park. One thing I'm using the White Sox Stadium as a example. I don't know if anyone has been to the White Sox Stadium here, but the dimensions are like the same all the way around. There's like no unique dimensions there. I like the unique dimensions at every ballpark. So I like the notch in center field, left center for the Pirates. I like that the right field wall is taller, but a little bit further in. It jets out in left center. I wouldn't change anything about the ballpark. I just think it's the roster that you construct. They don't really have a lot of guys that can slug, simply.
Yeah, I agree.
We have a question, but I do you think when the Orioles did that, I'm pretty sure Mountcastle hit like 10 or 12 more home runs the year after they did that.
Yeah,
he was
100%.
raking after, dude.
Yeah, because it was not a left righty friendly ballpark to the left field. They also brought in Tyler O'Neill this year. So did they move it? Wait, they moved it in, back, and then back.
Yeah, you can't be doing all that.
Yeah, you can't. That's too much, Baltimore. Come on.
We have a return commenter,
Okay.
friend of the show, Patty Gyron.
Oh, let's go.
Do you think the new manager will utilize McCutchen more regularly in the lineups?
Wait, yeah, McCutchen. Let's see here. Yes, absolutely. I think that top of the lineup is going to be pretty consistent. We've seen Kutch batting third for the past couple of weeks here, even when Shelton was here. But also, Patty, Don Kelly is a Mount Lebo guy. I think he's going to do the right thing. So,
Right. Yeah, I think at the end of the day, Kutch needs to be in the lineup. You give him a day off here and there as long as everyone's healthy. Maybe he plays right field once, every couple of weeks, but that's one of your best hitters.
Yeah.
Even in his mid-30s, he's also one of your highest paid
yeah.
guys on the team that you brought in or, re-signed this offseason. So, yeah, you got to keep Andrew McCutchen in the lineup. I think that's a given. There's no one really that I would want outside of him in that DH role. Like, who outside of Andrew McCutchen, who would you have DH if you have your regular field out there? I mean, just
yeah. I don't know. I mean, there really isn't. I mean, that on a team like this, that's a spot that you circle guys in and out of
right.
that spot in the lineup. And Kutch is just the perfect DH for this team because he's not going to play the field every day, and he's going to be a consistent bat. So I just stay with Kutch unless someone gets hurt and you need to utilize that DH spot for someone else, like they did for Reynolds at the beginning of the year. But yeah, I think we're going to see Kutch like pretty much every game.
You got anything else?
Nothing else as it currently stands.
Well, we were talking about stadium dimensions, and Debo, you can keep your mic on for this one
All right.
because we've
boy,
had this debate many times.
this is my favorite topic.
Why don't you lead us in?
All right.
Because I strongly I've debated him on this many times. I strongly disagree. I think this is the worst take of all time. Debo's take, it's bad. Man behind the camera, give us your hot take on baseball.
All right. So the whole point of sports generally is to have there be like, it's just a straight up meritocracy. Like that is the point, right? It's to have an even playing field. Like literally, that's just like the general, an even playing field, right? Every other sport outside of some minor exceptions uses the same exact dimensions for their playing surface all the time, right? Every single basketball court is the same length and width, 10 feet, right? A football field is 100 yards long, right? It is ludicrous to me that every single baseball field is different. It's ludicrous to me. They all have different dimensions. And I think baseball would be better served and prolong. I mean, they've gone through a couple issues recently. They've changed the rules. They've tried to make the game more appealing, more accessible to a newer generation of fans. And I think that making the field dimensions consistent would be better off for everybody.
Are you done?
Can we get a new cameraman?
Cut his mic.
Turn the lights off.
I'll follow up on this with some great counterpoints, but just sit tight for those.
Okay, I mean, I think you're just flat out wrong. That's a bad take. I don't know how you would implement that at this point.
There's like
That's a great question.
Here, everyone boo him.
Yeah, I'm getting tomatoes thrown on me right now. How you would implement it is you would have to have a, obviously you can't have everybody tear their stadiums down right now, right? It is like you implement a rule that when you build your next one or the next time that you are making renovations, it has to fit within a certain framework, right? Like, and also baseball already does this. First base is the same length every time. The pitcher's mound, like what if first base was 300 feet from home?
This might fall under the responsibilities of Doge.
The north side notch should be. He should get on that and fix it.
Actually,
They made the bases bigger. I mean, like they've
So we're playing with the rules anyway. We're just making it up.
But like that's part of the charm of baseball. I think that's why people visit different baseball stadiums, and it's always a goal for people to go around. Is like the uniqueness of each ballpark out there. That's the appeal. Like I think that's part of the appeal of baseball. Not going to every stadium and being like, okay, well, I've seen this one 100 times in 30 different places. It's like, okay, I can go to PNC Park. You see the skyline. It's unique. You get the notch out there. Then you go out to Fenway, and it's like, okay, well, left field is 100 feet, but like you got the green monster. So I think at least from a fan perspective, it makes me want to go see other places.
I'll say this, like I've been to like maybe 1-2 NBA stadiums in the whole league, 1 or 2 NFL stadiums, but I'm at like 20 MLB stadiums, and it's every time I go to a new one, it's that much more exciting because I'm like, oh, it's so much different than the last, right? You go to a different NBA stadium, it's like it's a court. The only thing different is like the concessions. I know that's not really a hot take. NFL, same thing. Like, there's not really anything unique. Like, there's like unique like concessions or like experiences at the stadium, but other than that, like, you go to different MLB stadiums, like it's the different dimensions. You got everything looks different, and I think that's what makes baseball great. It's America's pastime. It's just so unique.
Yeah, counter to that.
I mean, it's definitely the most.
You have no comeback.
It's definitely the most unique of the big four sports. There's also a reason why they're like grasping for straws to make it more accessible for people. But also teams definitely, and I would like to do some research on this and see if there's like drastic home and away splits. But like teams definitely build their rosters based upon, like the Yankees are building their roster in a very specific way because it's like 10 feet to right field. You know what I mean? That's good. That's great. They're gonna load their team up they're gonna take advantage of that. And as the rules currently stand, they should. But I think more consistency across the league is only ever a good thing. You want to have parity in pro sports.
Let me ask you this: how many NBA stadiums have a truck in their center field that you can defecate in?
Yeah.
Huh?
NBA?
Huh?
NBA?
Yeah.
There's no center field in the NBA.
What center court?
That would prove to be
There's only trucks
hazardous.
at center court?
I don't think so.
Okay. Next question, please.
We got anything in the chat?
Nothing in the chat currently. I mean, I'm going to do some research. We'll talk about this next week. I'm going to look up home and away splits for some of the more unique ballparks. Also, like they took the hill out of center field for a reason.
Okay, well, that was actually dangerous. That was one of the most absurd like stadium dimensions I've ever seen. Having a hill, and as a guy's running back,
you hate character?
I'm talking to him.
I think we need more hills,
Listen,
honestly, in baseball.
As an outfielder, how don't you think that hill was dangerous? Like running back, you're going back for a fly ball. You're not really looking. You're supposed to know your whereabouts, have a feel for where the wall is.
Of course, yeah. It's absurd, dude.
Yeah,
what are we
okay,
talking
how-
about?
okay.
Yeah, you can't put a hill out in the outfield. That should never have been allowed.
Yeah.
Let's just start planting trees in the outfield. Let's start, why not? Let's put a lake out there. Like it's
That'd be pretty
crazy.
cool.
It's nonsense. Like, yeah, they had to get rid of that, but I think at the same time, you do need different dimensions. I think you play to that. So that's why I love baseball.
Yeah.
I gotta hold on to something.
Yeah. So let's talk real quick about the minors. We got our minor league episode every Monday. So not gonna dive too deep into it. But shout out to our friend of the pod, recent repeat guest, Connor Griffin. Last night went 4 for 4. I think his dad was in the booth. Coach Griffin and he hit a home run, his 6th, I think, of the year.
Yeah.
Went 4 for 4. It's hitting the ball hard, man. That's someone to really be excited about in this system. And also, Hunter Barco made his debut in Indianapolis last night, along with Spencer Horwitz and Dari Moretta having their rehab assignments transferred to Indianapolis. So 2 other guys we're going to be seeing soon.
Yeah, the rotation in Indianapolis is
Absurd.
unreal right now.
Absurd.
It's absurd. Hunter Barco let up his first run of the year, or
He's
no,
human.
second run of the year, but he still was pretty lights out, all things considered. So I don't think it's out of the question that you can potentially see Barco at the end of this year.
At this rate, the way the season's going, yeah.
He's a college guy. It's not like it's a high school guy.
Especially the rate that they're going right now. You think that a lot of those 1-year deals are going to be uploaded in July. So, you've got your Andrew Heaney's, your IKF is up after this year. You've got Tommy Pham, the guys that they signed in the offseason, Caleb Ferguson. So you got to think there's going to be room for some arms to come up. And I've been a strong proponent of Braxton Ashcraft coming up some time in the bullpen.
Right.
It's a possibility too. So.
Yeah, 100%.
Got a comment from Bucko Mike here.
Yep.
Dari Moretta, 5 Ks and 2 appearances in AAA, not far away.
I just saw Monday he made his first appearance. I didn't see his second appearance, but he went 1 inning, 3 Ks. So he'll be a nice addition to the back of the bullpen for sure.
Yeah.
So we talked about this a little bit last night. The one thing that the Pirates really do well developmentally is pitching.
Yes.
And we talked a little bit about how it's pretty reasonable to think that like by the end of the year, the Pirates might have like, if not the best, like a top 3-5 rotation in baseball. But all these guys that they're bringing up in the bullpen, also pretty great as well. We talked last night about like, should they really prioritize not spending on pitching to look elsewhere for offense, because they can just keep bringing guys up, bringing arms up. I mean, they're pretty stacked on that.
Yeah, 100%, man. I don't think you need to go out and buy any arm unless it's maybe like a bullpen guy at like the back end, or like a veteran pitcher. I mean, the Pirates love their veteran lefty, so as long as Sherrington's here, they're probably going to bring in 1 a year.
Yeah.
But no, you don't need to spend your money on pitching. I don't think as long as you have these guys under control, there's no point of it.
I also don't think you need to spend a lot of money on your bullpen, like just any team, really. Obviously, if you want to go out and get your star closer, that's a different story. But you can go out and build a good bullpen for under $10 million.
Right.
You also have some guys in the system that I want to shout out. Like Eddie Yean is a guy who could play a prominent role in the bullpen in the future. Another guy, Valentin Linares.
He's big, man.
He's a big dude. I think he got some time in AAA. He's back in Altoona. We saw him down in spring training. He's a guy that you probably don't hear a lot about. I mean, we didn't hear about Luis Peralta last year until he got traded for Jalen Beeks to Colorado, and he had a good start. I don't think he had a good start to this season, but he did well in Colorado when he got called up last year. So I think bullpen, also using guys like Ashcraft in that role temporarily, I think you've got a lot of options. And then with the rotation, you obviously got a plethora of options. So, yeah, I think we should be obviously targeting hitting, especially in the draft. Like, I know the draft is kind of a crapshoot, and you take the best player available. But, last year we complained initially about them taking high school guys at the top of the draft.
Right.
Those guys seem to be working out, obviously. I'd love to see more college bats here in this draft, and
somebody who contribute next year.
Yeah. Like Nick Kurtz. Let's use him as an example. He was tied to the Pirates for a while last year in the draft process. He got taken 4th by the A's, already up and contributing.
Kags will be up this year.
Kags, another guy. These guys are moving quicker and quicker coming out of college. The college product is, I'd say, getting better.
Right.
So yeah, I'd love to see them focus in on the college bat market in this draft.
Yeah, 100%. I think if this regime is going to stick around, or if they're going to at least set the next regime up for success, you have to take guys that are going to be close to ready.
Yeah.
Right now, that are going to be able to contribute within the next year, because we could talk about the Skeens window all we want. I think you're close to closing it already with how they've the bad behavior that's gone on.
Let's cut to a break real quick. Then.
Yeah, like it really is. I mean, you have to set yourself up for success, and you've proven that you're not going to go out and give a guy a 3-year contract.
Yeah.
So you need a guy that's going to be ready now, that's going to contribute. And I think Major League Baseball has taken a turn where you've seen these guys get drafted and they're up 3 months later, because guess what? Like, the SEC is pretty good nowadays, right? Like college baseball, these guys are much more developed than they were before. So I don't think there's the need for these guys to, brew in the farm for years.
Also, a lot of these SEC guys, even outside the SEC, have more resources than you do at the single A level when they get here. Like they're playing in better facilities with better resources. So,
Right.
yeah, you're seeing the college product getting better and better, and I'd like to see them focus on that in this year's draft because I think it is a strong. I don't want to say a strong draft, but there is a lot of options at the college level, especially with bats.
So we got a live question, but also I think just an observation. I think that's kind of that way across a lot of the major sports. Like you see young guys getting drafted and just being like instant, like producing instantly.
I think we should start getting guys in the NFL out of high school.
Yeah. That's the one where I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah,
but you see
Jay-Z,
guys who are like 18, 19 in the NBA just absolutely crushing. And
NBA for sure.
we're a little spoiled, I think, especially like, I don't know. We saw Paul come up after a couple months, just dominate, but
And
it's
not
my
much
2
pitching
cents.
experience behind him either. Like the most he pitched was at LSU. So
Kind of getting spoiled with young guys, which is, good. But we got a question here, a live question.
Hey guys, listener to the pod, frequent question and answer. But I'm Zach. I'm from Pittsburgh. Starting on a lighter note, since it's Saturday, what pirate would you most want to have a beer with?
which pirate would I?
Would I want to have a beer with?
Ooh, that's a good one. Let me see here. Wow.
Do I give the funny response or the actual? I
Be
think.
careful here.
Yeah. Who? Which?
I think I'm gonna go with Jared Triolo. I
Yeah. I
think Jared Triolo and I would chop it up for a while.
feel like Joey Bart could probably get after it. That would
Oh
be a
yeah.
good time.
Well, what kind of night are we looking at here? Are we looking here?
It's got to be the classic IC light.
Okay, icy light.
It got to be an IC light. Come on.
I'm still gonna go Triolo, but Bart probably throws back some icy lights. I agree with that.
Yeah, I'd probably go with Bart or Tommy Pham. Yeah, we'll go with Tommy Pham.
It's funny that you said that. That's Bucko Mike's player of choice
Tommy
as well.
Pham, yeah, let's go, Bucko
I'm
Mike.
shocked.
Night out in town. Let's go. We got any more questions here?
No more questions.
All right.
Mike had mentioned a couple things here. Closest young hitter to the majors, Mitch Jebb.
Okay. I think Termar, Mitch Jebb. That's pretty much it for
Sammy Siani, mate. I mean, like, these are all like
Nick York.
These are all kind of like one and the same. Like, I don't think any of these guys are going to help take the Pirates to the next level. But yeah, if we're talking closest hitter, like that, Mitch Jebb's a college bat, right? So at the end of the day, yeah, I mean,
He's starting to.
all
I
things
haven't seen
considered.
what he did this week, but last week, he got that average over 300 in Altoona. So he's a guy that could probably be like a scrappy leadoff hitter.
yeah, what position is he going to play?
That's the question. I don't think he really is exceptional at any one position. He's been playing outfield, second base. I think he's played a little bit of shortstop. It's just going to depend on where you put him defensively, where he fits on this roster defensively.
Who do you think the closest hitter is that would actually contribute to this team?
Nick York.
Nick York, yeah.
Nick York, for sure. Or, 30-year-old Nick Solak.
Nick Solak,
Hopefully
Nick
Jim's still
York,
listening.
Billy Cook, has had a cup of coffee. Like, these guys aren't going to change the narrative at all, but
I think Billy Cook is more like a defensive replacement at this point.
right.
He's gotten off to a slow start in Indianapolis. Hopefully he picks it up offensively there. But right now, I've said this many times, he'd be the best defensive outfitter on this team.
I don't think that's saying much.
Yeah.
But let's talk about changing the narrative a little bit, because we've had this discussion on the pod. We still got about 20 minutes here. In terms of like making a difference sooner rather than later, right? And assuming the Pirates stay on the same course that they're at, they're not going to make any waves this year. What moves would you make at the deadline in order to set them up for success in the next year or two? I have my answer. So I've mentioned this on the pod. So if you listen to Bucko Banner, you've heard this take already. But I think Mitch Keller is a prime trade candidate. I think for a team, maybe even like the Orioles, I know they're in a tough division right now and things aren't going their way offensively like they expected, but they have no arms, or somebody who is just very, very close to being like that top team and needs a third to back end rotation guy, Mitch Keller with a very friendly contract, all things considered, for pretty much every other team in the league, could be your guy. And I think the Pirates, when we talk about going out, they don't need to go out and buy pitching at all, because you're going to have people coming in and you're going to have people, like Hunter Barco, Bubba Chandler, Jared Jones is going to be coming back. And you have so many arms. Oviedo. So I think Mitch Keller is the best candidate to yield a return that's not going to make the biggest dent in this team when it comes to continuing to build or, restarting this rebuild. It's going to yield you bats that are going to be closer to the major league level, if not ready for the major league level right now. And I think a team's going to be willing to overpay for a guy like Mitch Keller at the back end of the rotation if they're really trying to push for like a World Series.
I look at a team like Baltimore, who is in dire need of pitching. And I think with their lineup, with the plethora of bats that they have, they're not a team that wants to waste a year.
Right.
Grayson Rodriguez is on the IL. They definitely need a reliable arm that can eat innings. I think he'd be a great fit there. And I think the Pirates could use that leverage of like, hey, you guys need an arm. You guys need an inning eater. Let me get one of your, many bats in the system. I think they could definitely work out a trade there. It almost makes too much sense as a fit for Mitch. I also think that you look at guys like Hayes and Reynolds. I'm not like advocating for trading all these guys, but like, if you choose to go to the direction,
the guys with contracts,
if you choose to go to the direction of restarting this thing, then they're expendable.
Right.
But I don't want to not that I don't want to entertain that conversation just yet, but it's something to think about.
Yeah. I 100% agree, man. I don't want to like break apart the whole crew. I also don't know what value somebody like Brian Hayes holds for a team right now, or what that yields. You're probably just going to get some young prospects back for a team that just wants a defensive specialist. The bat, you can only wait around for so long for the bat to wake up and to be that guy that you want him to be. I like Key a lot. I mean, I think we're lucky to watch him at third base, but we need offense, man. The conversation is just going to continue to be offense until they actually hit. So I'd be willing to sacrifice some defense. What's the difference between putting a guy like Trigola over there right now in the interim?
Yeah, I think the main point I'm getting at is offensively, you're the two guys you have multi-year contracts with. You need more than a sub 700 OPS from those guys. You just do, especially a small market like Pittsburgh. You need a little bit more production offensively. I think Reynolds is going to pick up here, but like I said, June is just right around the corner. But it's something to think about if they continue to lose and the trend is that they're going to sell. I think nobody should be off the table.
Yeah.
In terms of like the older core here, the contract guys, the 1-year deal guys.
Every 1-year deal guy should be sold. If something, unless it's like such a dramatic turnaround, then I think you sell every single 1-year guy possible.
Yeah.
Heaney could provide a lot of value to a team. IKF as a utility guy can provide a ton of value. So I think at the end of the day, like you'd be doing everybody in Pittsburgh a disservice if you didn't do that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just want to give a quick shout out to friend of the show, constant supporter, Braddock Ben, here showing his support here.
Braddock Ben.
Does Ben have a question? No question, Ben.
How's it going?
It's going great.
It's great, Ben. It's great, man. It's
Shout
great
out
to see
Braddock
you
Ben
here with your Hawaiian t-shirt. Love it. Very festive.
Yeah, beautiful. Are you going to be at the game later? You going to the game? No?
No? Okay.
Okay. Well, thanks for coming down, man. Appreciate you. Does that qualify as a question? That does, I think, qualify as a question.
I think it qualifies as a question.
Coffee?
We're actually we've been running through them today.
Really? All
Oh
right.
yeah.
Okay, well, we got another one. We will. We got about 10 minutes here, Scott. What do you want to talk about?
Oh boy. Let's Yeah, let's talk about the week ahead. They've got so they're home this weekend. They're away for a while after this, right? They go to New York and Philly.
Yeah.
Over the next week. They're staying out east, so we won't be at the ballpark until the following week. But we'll be there all weekend against the Braves. We've got Heaney tonight, and we've got Majinski tomorrow.
Yeah, that would line up right.
Okay, let's talk about that real quick. Majinski tomorrow. I thought that his last start might be his last in the rotation.
Sure seemed like it, yeah.
Given just how it lined up Sunday at home, it seemed like with how things were going, maybe, and the timeline, that it would be a Bubba debut day. It would kind of follow the track of Paul Skeens, too. Bubba actually just started on Wednesday in Indianapolis, so didn't really make sense to bring him up for Sunday on, 3 days rest. You got to think on the next homestand, though, that Bubba's name is going to be floating around. You'd like to see him make that debut at home. That would probably put Majinski at 2 more starts tomorrow and next week.
Yeah. So you go to New York, which is the Mets is going to could be brutal. The Mets are
starting off hot.
Best team in baseball.
You got the Phillies too.
Phillies always going to be tough, and then you come back home for Cincinnati Monday through Wednesday, and then you got Milwaukee in a 4-game series Thursday through Sunday before going out west to Arizona and back to San Diego to play the Padres. So, I mean, I know there was a big change and things last night looked good. And I mean, we say it looked good. They scored 3 runs, but
they almost gave it up in the end.
Yeah, I think you could expect to see Bubba a homestand either in Cincinnati or Milwaukee.
Okay, so that's the home. So we got a lot of NL series coming up. The homestand when they come back is going to be divisional. I guess my question is, Carmen Wojcinski, possibly 2 more starts. Are you doing him a disservice continuing to run him out there as a starter? I don't see the benefit personally.
The only benefit I can see is starting pitching is at a premium right now. So if he potentially can go out there and give a team 4 to 5 innings of 1-run baseball, his value in the trade market goes up significantly. You saw guys like Clay Holmes get 3 years, $35 million. So in terms of
he's pitching well right now.
Yeah, then he's either a trade piece and he could return a lot of assets for teams that are desperate for starting pitching, which I don't think he's proven to be able to do so, or you go back to where he was very successful in a short-term stint, either as an opener or, a high leverage arm, which the Pirates need right now.
Yeah, I'm actually if you're waiting to call Bubba up, I don't see the reason why you don't call Mike Burrows up. Specifically, look at his last couple starts. Mike Burrows has done really well in AAA, especially as of late. I think he's a guy that is MLB ready, back end rotation guy, and I don't see what he's accomplishing or learning staying in AAA any longer. No, I think he's a guy that could use some MLB time, some extended MLB time, and Carmen's not a starter,
right? And you've had injuries in the bullpen.
I think most people, if not all in the organization, know that. So I don't see the point in continuing to run him out there. I think you can get to a point where you might, maybe Carmen's a little bit different. Don't know him personally, but maybe he's the type of guy that it does it not a lot goes on up. He's not thinking too much. It's not going to impact him mentally going out there and getting hit around, second, third time through an order, where he can just jump back into a bullpen role and
easily
be old Carmen. But I'm worried about the opposite, right? What if this time in the rotation really hurts him long term mentally?
Yeah.
Pitching is mental, man. It really is. I think the most successful pitchers are the guys that
I think you
really don't think a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. I think you have nothing to lose with getting Burrows some time.
Yeah.
Right. It works. I mean, best of both worlds. If you really don't need him in the future, if you don't have a plan for him and you get him some starts and he does well, guess what? That's somebody you could return maybe for some bats.
Yeah.
Eventually. I mean, I know my mind's kind of solely focused on moving guys around, which I hate, but at the end of the day, you have a guy that is a starter that you gave an opportunity to last year. I know it was like last game of the season, but he didn't look bad and he hasn't looked terrible this year. So like, give him a chance. Like it's better than giving Carmen every opportunity to embarrass himself.
Yeah.
So this is, I mean, we've talked about this a couple times, and I think we were talking about it last night. More of a question, I think that's been on a lot of people's minds is, I think Majinski is the first one out of the rotation when Bubba gets called up. He's moving back to the pen. There is reinforcements waiting for this team, right? Like Bubba's going to come up, Nikki G eventually, Spencer's, doing his rehab. He's going to be back at some point. Jared Jones will be back.
All-Star break, probably.
All-Star break. So, I mean, that's a pretty drastic change to the roster when all of those guys are back. Do you think that the team can stay, I don't even want to say treading water. Do you think they can not completely bottom out and then pick it up when those guys all get back? Like, what do they look like in the back half of the season?
Oh, man. Tough to say because I don't know what to expect from Spencer Horwitz. I really don't.
It's not much of a sample size.
There's not much of a sample size. Like you'd think, I've seen he's batting second in the order at Indianapolis, and from what I know about Spencer Horwitz, I think he'd be a good 2-hole hitter in a lot of lines. But what do you do at Reynolds, or is he like more of like a 5-hole guy when he gets to the big leagues? I don't know what kind of production we're going to get from him, especially with a wrist. I know it wasn't chronic, and that maybe that language was not proper in his situation, but. You gotta wrists and hands with hitters. They scare me a little bit just because it usually takes guys a little bit to get back to their normal self. So I'm not like expecting Spencer to come up and, light the world on fire. I just think the unknown. Like I know what I'm going to get from Nikki G.
Yeah.
I know what I'm going to get from some of the pitchers that are coming up. But Spencer is a kind of a question mark for me.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a better team.
Yeah.
That's not saying much. They're just it's kind of a mess right now, right? So I mean, adding these guys, I think objectively is going to make you better than what you are right now, but it might be spread out over time. It might take some guys some time to get going. And what is this team going to look like at the All-Star break? Are they going to have 20 wins? Are they going to continue on the downfall of just not being able to slug at all, or are these guys going to come back and help spark them to hover around 500? I think that's like the best that you can ask for for the 2025 season.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, like right now I'm watching for some sparks, some guys to make some improvements. This team to play with a little bit of life. Well, I care about wins and losses. It's gotten to a point, like you're at a point 1 month and some change for the season where you've dug yourself a hole. I just want to see some guys make some adjustments. And I just want to watch fun baseball. Like it has not been fun for a month. It just has not been fun, and care a little bit less about the wins and losses at this point.
100%, man. Well, we're going to be out at the field today. Actually, right when this ends, we're probably going to get something to eat, and then we're going to head over for the 4:00 game. We'll be on the field asking questions. If you want us to ask anything to the players, let us know. Maybe it'll be a fun question that we can get cool video out of, but go follow us on all social media at Bucko Banter, BANTR. Go subscribe to the YouTube, like, share, leave a comment, buckobanter.com. You can get all your gear there. Come find us hovering around the park today.
Yep.
We'll have some giveaways, asking some fun questions, trying to make the game enjoyable, right? Let's have a good time out at the park.
Yeah. It's a beautiful day.
Beautiful day.
Come out to
I'm
the
actually
ballpark.
burning up over here right now. It's nice.
I'm wearing pants, dude. I thought it was going to be colder. It said 48 when I woke up.
Hey,
so.
I think the team advertised it's going to be 76 and sunny today. So
That's true. Come out to the ballpark.
Right. Exactly. So, all right. I think that's it. Appreciate everybody watching. And until our next episode, raise it.
Raise it.